Well, Derby County face Chesterfield tomorrow, and some of you may realise that this is a second video today. You won't be able to see the first one. I made a bit of an error, completely flipped my fixtures around. I made a video about the Shrewsbury Town friendly, which is on Saturday, but it appears that it's Chesterfield tomorrow, not Shrewsbury. So we're going to get into it, talking about Chesterfield and everything that we could see in that game. For those of you that watched that video, there will be some similar topics, maybe some a little bit more to add into this video. So if you do want to stick around, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button as well. And let's really get into this preview of the game. Now, obviously, as I've mentioned in previous videos, a lot of pre-season is purely legwork, getting the fitness right for the players and getting the players in the right window, both tactically and fitness wise for the start of the championship campaign. And we get into the point of pre-season where it now becomes more tactical. You're starting to see the systems. You're going to start to see partnerships develop within the squad at centre-back, on the right-hand side, left-hand side, through the middle. You're going to start to see all of those partnerships develop. The big problem that Derby County have is the goalkeeper situation. Obviously, there's lots of talk about Jakob Zetterstrom from Djurgården in Sweden. There's a rumour that a fee has been agreed, but nothing has been confirmed by local media or even their media as of the time of recording this video. And then we're also, if we look into midfield, we're still waiting on the announcement of David Ozoh. Now, the original video I recorded, we were still waiting. This video, we're still waiting. There's a couple of videos that are going to come out over the next few days where I've recorded them when we're still waiting for Ozoh to be announced. But I've put him into a couple of depth charts just so you can see what it's like. So it looks as if that deal is pretty much done. So if we do look ahead to Chesterfield, I think this is probably going to be the first time this season we probably see... I don't know if it'll be the first time we see our main starting 11, but I think it will be pretty close to it. Obviously, we've still got the likes of Joe Ward, who hasn't yet played a lot of minutes. Rooney and Tyrese Warne didn't play out in Spain. So it is going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about in regards to the likes of Jake Rooney, Tyrese Warne, obviously Dejon Brown, Joe Ward, and the potential for players to leave the club. Obviously, if we go back to Warne's comments post-Matlock, obviously one or two keepers he wanted, which was to be expected. He wanted 3 or 4 midfielders, which would then put us on 9 midfielders. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes where we could see players leave. Obviously, that is something which Paul Warne's mentioned. I've gone through the players in a previous video who I think could potentially be on the chopping block. Now, obviously, heading into this game, the main focus is not on results. It's about starting to see the patterns, starting to see the fitness work coming into play. Obviously, they only got back from Spain on Sunday. I think they flew back Sunday, back in training on Monday. Obviously, today's Tuesday. They play tomorrow night. They'll probably then have a recovery day Thursday and then play again Saturday. So they're starting to get that sort of like Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday fixtures in, because that's what it's going to be like in the Championship this year, which I think is really important. I do think there's a possibility that we might see essentially our main 11 start. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner. Stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL Championship and League One content that's going to be heading your way over the course of this upcoming season. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions for this friendly game. Obviously, results don't really matter, but it's always interesting to see what people think. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. Tomorrow, play 60 minutes, then swap, and then have our second 11 start and play 60 minutes on Saturday, and then obviously swap again. I think that's what we could potentially be seeing. Obviously, there is the potential for signings to come in. Obviously, Ozoh, who we're waiting for, I think he'll be in and announced tomorrow for the game, if I'm completely honest. It doesn't make much sense not to have him announced and involved. If the deal is as close to being done as it seems, with obviously the reports of his picture with the Rams TV interview. So there is a lot going on there. Obviously, if Zetterstrom has had his deal agreed, that could be one that we see at the weekend, maybe into next week. It's one of those that with it being a broad deal, you've got to wait for visas to come in and things like that before they can be announced. So it's going to be interesting to see what does happen. Obviously, going into this game, I think it's important that we do start to see Joe Ward, Conor Washington, because at the moment they're going to be part of the squad, they're going to be involved, they're going to be massive for what we need. Obviously, Joe Ward spent the back end of last season injured after starting to put in some really, really good performances. And depending on where you class Ryan Niambi, Joe Ward is either second or third choice at right back. And then he's even, if you go a little bit further forward, he's probably involved in the depth for the forward line as well. So it's one of those for me where he really needs to get some minutes on the board, because you don't want to be starting the season going to Blackburn with a Joe Ward on the bench who's not played any minutes. We had a couple of situations like that last season where Kane Wilson didn't really play, Callum Elder didn't really play in pre-season because of fitness reasons, and then they just weren't ready. Wilson obviously built into the season really, really well. Callum Elder, on the other hand, never really got fit. So it is going to be interesting to see how that one does develop. Obviously, it is going to be important to start to see a system, a style, because obviously we've played a lot of 3-4-3, 3-5-2 so far. We've also played 4-4-2, 4-3-3 within this pre-season. The big thing for me is we need to show that we can play multiple systems. I think the problem we have right now is we don't have what I'd consider enough creation in midfield. I think Kenzo could be brilliant in that, but if we were to go to a 4-2-3-1, I don't really think Kenzo's a number 10. I think he could play the role, but I don't necessarily think that's his strong point. I think it's better collecting the ball off the defenders and building that way. Obviously, Ibu Adams back in the fold, as we know. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one develops. I really thought we was playing Shrewsbury Town tomorrow, so I'm a bit all over the place with this one, rushing this video out. So I am grateful for those who let me know in the comments. But it's one of those. It happens in football. Mistakes happen. But it is going to be interesting to see what does happen. Obviously, Shrewsbury Town at the weekend. Chesterfield tomorrow. It's going to be a really interesting set of games for me. Chesterfield, obviously, a local side. 20 minutes down the road from Pride Park. So that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, they've got an abundance of talent in their team, hence why they got themselves back into the EFL last season. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Obviously, Shrewsbury, we played them a few times last season. We all know how those games went, and obviously there's ways for Derby County to prove their physical nature, prove that they've got the fitness levels to go for what they need to go for heading into the championship campaign. Obviously, Paul Warne's spoken about specific metrics that they're not yet hitting, but obviously we are only 3 weeks into pre-season. There's still a long way to go and players to bring in and squad depth to build. I think there's a lot that could go on. Obviously, if we go back to looking at the Matlock game, Alex Iuene, I think his surname is, I think it'll be interesting to see if he's involved at all. I don't personally think he will be, but because we've not seen him since Matlock, but it will be interesting to see what does happen with that. Obviously, with Kenzo now in and Ibu now in, it obviously adds a lot more depth to that midfield, which means that he isn't necessarily needed for the first team. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Derby win. I think it'll probably be Caden Jackson and James Collins to get the goals. Let me know your thoughts and predictions down in the comments. We'll go through it all in my review video either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, so keep an eye out on the channel for that one. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in my next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.